Former National MP Jami-Lee Ross was at the centre of what has to be the biggest meltdown in modern New Zealand political history. Claims and counterclaims involving corruption, sexual harassment and affairs, leaks of National Party secrets and the MP for Botany forcibly being admitted to a psychiatric unit. All this in the space of 1 month, last October. Hikurangi Jackson meets with Jami-Lee Ross as he returns to Parliament as an independent, coming to terms with who he is and where he's been.
What's it like being back, Jamie? How's the team treating you? How's the opposition treating you?
Hey, it's good to be back in Parliament, good to be back working and serving my community. Obviously it's a bit different, I'm not part of the National Party anymore, but you know, MPs, they're all good people.
Jami-Lee Ross, the most isolated MP in the House.
No awkward elevator moments?
No, look, I'm sure there'll be a few people that would rather not get into an elevator. I haven't seen Paula Bennett in an elevator yet.
What was your first speech like in the House?
It was different. I hadn't spoken in the House for a wee while, but I used it as an opportunity to say to the House and say to the public in my community, I'm here for good.
It's been 5 months since that press conference on the parliamentary tiles.
I once thought Simon Bridges was capable of being Prime Minister. Now that I see what he's really like, it's clear he is not.
Does it feel like a lifetime ago when you made the press conference here?
That was a unique experience and one that I'm not going to be repeating anytime soon. But you know, it was also a life-changing experience.
And what a life experience. Manukau City Councillor at age 18, the youngest MP in Parliament in 2011, and he's held the seat ever since. To hell and back. The sign outside says it all. Now he's walking his own beat as an independent.
Did it take some courage for you to get out after everything that's happened and, you know, be on the streets, see how people react to you?
Yeah, it did. When I was first in Middlemore, when I was there in the mental health facility, it was a challenging time for me to get back out in public. I felt a lot of shame. I was in a situation where I thought the whole world hated me. But when I got out and met people and came out here with my kids and my wife, there were a lot of positive, kind comments.
Well, one of the difficult things, I guess, that I see with politicians is the keyboard warriors online. All the hate that you guys get sent. Yeah, I mean, how do you deal with that?
Look, when it comes to those things, what real people are saying out in the community, that's far more important. I mean, people can say whatever they want on Facebook and Twitter.
No one's actually come up to you and said anything bad, right?
No.
To your face?
We were in Howick together. We were walking around. Not a single person came up and said anything negative. Now, I'm not going to say that it's all bright and shiny. I mean, I've got a lot of work to do to prove to my community that I'm still the good person.
Growing up wasn't easy. Absent parents, brought up by his grandmother, and no connection with te ao Māori.
I grew up in South Auckland. My mother was pretty young when she had me. My father, you know, kind of donated some DNA up the back of the army barracks one night and never really was seen since then. And so my grandmother was the one that took me on and she raised me.
So through your parents, you do have a connection to te ao Māori. Do you have a longing to reconnect to your Māori roots?
I suppose the longer I've been in politics, the more I've started to become interested in my Māori side. I know I'm a New Zealander of Māori descent. I know I'm Ngāti Porou. I was told that growing up, but I've never had an opportunity to explore that properly. And now that I've got 2 kids, I know that I'm Māori and I know that they're Māori, and I think I owe it to them in the future to explore that further. It's a bit of a scary can of worms though. I've never really opened that can of worms. I don't know what's there. I don't know what I'm going to find.
What he does know is how the fallout of last year engulfed his family. They're still together, he says, riding it out day by day.
Lucy's a very resilient person, but at the same time, I am immensely sorry for all that I put her through, and I'm very sorry that I didn't consider her and my children properly throughout the year, particularly in October when things were melting down around me. She deserved better.
Jamie's actions have also strained support in his Botany electorate.
There's plenty of talk that you don't have a mandate to represent Botany. What do you say about that?
My plea to my community is that they judge me on the 15 years of service that I've given the Botany electorate in the wider Howick area, and not just, a number of weeks in a month where things fell apart. And I asked for an opportunity to prove to people that what you saw last year, it's not the Jami-Lee that you've known for 15 years.
It's a big ask. After the break, that meltdown, mental health, and Simon Bridges.
I stand by all that I said in October.
We continue with Hikurangi's story now. Jami-Lee Ross talks us through the biggest crisis in his life and the biggest parliamentary uproar in recent history.
In the Lion's Den last October, there was blood on the tiles.
Simon is a flawed individual without a moral compass and without any underlying principles except power.
Allegations and counter-allegations came thick and fast. Ross accused of leaking his leader's travel expenses. He denied it. Ross accusing Simon Bridges of being corrupt and accepting illegal party donations. National countering with claims that Ross sexually harassed women and had affairs. Ross taking matters to the police. It was head-spinning.
Do you resile from any of the accusations you made against Simon Bridges?
No, I stand by all that I said in October. What I think would have happened differently is we would have communicated a lot better had we actually stopped and talked to each other.
And here's the thing, Nationals leader and Jami-Lee Ross spent years as best of mates.
What regrets do you have over how this all played out?
I have regrets around the collateral damage that was done to innocent parties. And by that I mean my friends in the National Party caucus. I mean my own family, and I mean my community as well. What you saw there was a monumental falling out between two people that were very good friends. Simon and I were extremely close. I supported him through both of his campaigns for leadership. Over time, that friendship was eroding and that trust between two individuals was dissipating, and it all came to a head in September and October. And so what you saw was two people that weren't prepared to give in, probably driven too much by pride and ego, really locking horns.
But at the same time, Jami-Lee's life was unravelling and he would be sectioned to a psychiatric unit. So what influence did that have on events?
I don't blame mental health challenges for anything that happened in October. And in fact, I think that would be unfair on anyone else that's struggled with their own mental health. It's not a reason, but I think it does add some context to how that week, particularly in October, played out. Now, yes, there were personal challenges going on that were getting on top of me throughout the year, and I did a number of things that I shouldn't have, and I particularly mean in my personal life that I now regret. And then more and more pressure was piled on. During October, in that particular week, I became very isolated. I wasn't acting rationally in a number of areas. I wasn't talking to my friends and family. My wife was finding out what I was doing politically either 10 minutes before a press conference or when she saw a news alert pop up on her phone. A normal, rational person doesn't do those things and they communicate more.
Has mental health been a lifelong issue for you?
Well, when I was a teenager, I went off the rails a bit, and my grandmother at the time sought some assistance from a lovely guy who still works supporting young people, and I spent a number of years seeing him as a counsellor. I've probably struggled with challenges my whole life, but you don't always realise that you need help. And if I can impart a message, particularly to men, particularly to young men, you don't have to be staunch. You don't have to assume you can get through anything. There's no shame in saying, hey, I'm not feeling so great. I need some assistance.
Spending time with Jami-Lee Ross, you get the sense of just how much courage it's taken for him to come back. and humility too. He says that given everything he's been through and is still going through, he's found a new sense of purpose.
I didn't have the strength to just keep going, and I found myself in a really dark place where I needed assistance and where I ended up being committed against my will to a mental health facility. That doesn't happen to many members of Parliament. I don't know of any other current or recent MP that's ended up in mental health care. I think I owe it to other people who have survived mental health challenges to show them that you can get up and on your feet again after suffering some pretty difficult circumstances. But I should have asked for help earlier. I should have sought it, and I could have saved myself and my family a lot of grief, and I would have saved, you know, the taxpayer a lot of public services that were spent on me, and I'm sorry for that, but I'm thankful that I'm here for my wife and children now into the future.